Welcome back, hope you're well. You might notice I've got a jumper on. It's the cool change has arrived, so we ended up with we had rain. It's been a few days since the last video, but we had rain last night, just sort of storms about dark and a bit after, so we ended up with about 13 mil of rain, but in turn it's, temperatures dropped back a fair bit. We've been high 20s roughly. It's been pretty nice, the weather, but yeah, we're back to 15 degrees this morning, and I think only sort of top of 21 today, and then just looking going forward, probably sort of mid-20s, which will be pretty good for this time of year. So still watering, just a bit torn what to do there. For those of you not in Australia, there's a cyclone floating around up in northern Queensland at the moment, and I'm sort of looking to see what it's going to do, just on the forecast. Biggest issue with pre-watering this time of year is once you do it, you end up with getting a big dump of rain and everything gets too wet and it just turns into a bit of a balls up. So I'm a bit torn what to do. I think we're just going to keep going. We need to get some of these grazing cereals in for the sheep just to get it up and established, so we've got a bit of grazing tucker going forward. So the boys at Eagle Eye Machinery, which we'll go and have a look at, they've got the irrigator back up and we've had it going. We started it, a day and a half. They had it back together, which was fantastic. And we sent it around yesterday. So the dam, it's out of water now, but the plan is Friday we're going to start and drain the rice. So we'll drain that water into the dam, and then we can put it on the lucerne. So there's enough happening. So we're just trying to had a bit of a planning meeting with the guys then, just to get a few ducks in a line. So I'm just it's a bit of a plan in place going forward. There's a bit of spraying to do now. We've got a bit of fallow spraying to do now that it's rained, and just freshened a few weeds up. We don't have a hell of a lot more burning to do, but we do have some. We started grader boarding yesterday. I want to put the grader board over a few paddocks that have got quite rough, just with a few wet years and that sort of thing. So and we're only 10 days off Easter now, so I'm hoping we might start and get a bit of seed in the ground next week. All going to plan, but I want to get the tractor on the air seeder and give it a run. And there's a few little jobs that need doing on it. Probably should have spent more time on it than what I have, but we'll do the bare basics, and then it should be right to go around again anyway. I brought the timers over here to use them, but they don't work real well on these stop setups. The angle's sort of not quite right where the bracket we've made up, so I didn't use them. So I've got the water monitor going again. I went and got a new aerial for it, and we had to put a new SIM card in it, so that was a bit of an ordeal, but got it going again. So I set it up last night, and I had circa 2 bays here open. I thought that was going to get me through till early morning, and about 11:30 last night my phone went off, so I laid in bed for half an hour and thought, if I don't change it, there'll be bloody water everywhere. So I actually came over here about midnight and changed the water. So I've just been using the water monitor rather than the timers over here. Probably works a bit better that way, because we know we're sort of guessing a little bit It's not like the corn where we're doing it weekly, we know what it's doing. So yeah, I've just started 2, and there's another, I think there's 2 left, but one's already watered. The bay was already open when we started, so there's one more bay here, and then we'll shift back over in amongst the trees into the short stuff. But look, it is running over them relatively quickly, so sort of says that they're not, it's, you know, there's a bit of moisture underneath. So anyway, we'll get these shut off, and might even grab these timers while we're here, and yeah, go and grab the water monitor from down the end there. It's about the end of the day, excuse me. I haven't actually filmed much today because it's been such a crap day with the wind, and you wouldn't be able to hear much at all. So I've just come down. I'm actually going to start and drain the rice. So the wind has backed off a bit, but yeah, there's been dust blowing and all the rest of it. So this block's, visually there's probably not a lot of difference, but this block is probably a little bit riper. So I'm just going to start the process. I'll just do it slowly. I'm not going to just let it dump it all, probably because, or mainly because, we can't actually handle all the water off you know, both blocks at once. So I'll yeah, drain this one tonight, or start it draining. We'll start the irrigator in the morning. We've only done a bit over a third of the circle. Yeah, we'll go and have a look at that too while we're here. So yeah, so anyway, it's you okay? Bloody handle on the winch hit the head on the winch, hit my hand and knocked the camera out of me. Won't start. Anyway. Yeah, so we'll just let it go steady, and rather than dropping it fully. Yeah. Won't be long, the countdown's on. Morning. Alright, much nicer day today. The wind's it's pretty windy sort of night, but the wind seems to have nicked off this morning. Yeah, mornings are chilly, and last night was quite cool, so yeah, season's definitely changing, which is nice. Just up here, going to start the irrigator again. So this is the one we got fixed. Yeah, and I've started, you saw there before, we just started draining the water off the rice, so we're going to use that water now to irrigate the lucerne here. We're getting, probably whether it's tomorrow or Monday, going to start and split the lambing ewes up, so we can get them in their mobs for lambing, because we're only really a week off lambing, and yeah, get them onto some better feed. Yeah, so yeah, pretty spot on sort of a day, it's going to be anyway. Been quite a bit of runoff since I opened the doors last night, so the dam was about empty. So once we do I'll just see, we might finish that circle that we're doing now, and then perhaps just send it round again, give it another 10 or 15 back the other way, and just to get the pivot back round, sort of not into the trees, against the trees. Yeah, just so it's out of the road, and then we'll start and pre-irrigate here. So I'm hoping we can get the grader board across this the next day or two. Tony's got a bit of spraying to do this morning, and I've got the air seeder hooked on the tractor, which I'll show you in a minute. So on the big tractor. So yeah, once we get that bit of spraying done, we can put the board on the Magnum and do this paddock. And yeah, whether he starts at the Sabo in the morning, and then we can yeah, chuck a bit of water over it as well, just to use up a bit of this rice water while we're going. So, fingers crossed. Check the oil. It's alright. Can do with a little bit, but that's alright. This has been priming up pretty well, alright, since we replaced the bladder and that. So need two hands. Show you this while we're here. So, I would have mentioned we're putting 30 mil on. So this is the new span. Yeah. The rest of the machine's only done about 1,000 hours, so it wasn't that old, which is a bit disappointing. But anyway, I don't know whether you can see without getting wet. There's a rod there just that runs above the tyre, and it's actually it's the stopper now, so it's got a limit switch on it, and we're actually going to put in a physical stop, which a few of you did ask why there wasn't one. There should have been, but anyway, I'll wear that one. So yeah, basically once the machine pushes up against that physical stop, it stops. So, and just saves what happened happening again. I'm just looking here, we've got a couple of trees here that we're going to have to trim that have grown a bit since we put the machine up. This one's been here since 2019, so yeah, we might have to do a bit of recreational pruning there, just take the side limb off that, just to yeah, make sure it doesn't get caught up in there again. I was just trying to work out for you how much water's probably left on the rice. So farmers will know this, but for every down the road, for every 100 mil of water across a hectare, you've got a megalitre of water. So this first block is about 8 hectares. I don't reckon there'd be quite 100 mil across the 8 hectares, but you know, if there was, we'd have 8 megs of water. So there's still a fair bit of water coming off the bays are still quite full. I didn't sort of drop the doors altogether, so last night I've just dropped the one that runs into the pivot a bit more now, to give it a bit more, just so it keeps up. But there is a fair bit of water in that dam, so yeah, so we're just gonna drain a section at a time, essentially, just so we're not trying to drain it all at once, and so we can sort of use the water as it goes. But yeah, so there's roughly, I reckon, 7.5 megs on that on this first section to pump off. So yeah, not free water. I had a bit of a look the other day, actually, just out of interest. We've used about 11.5 megs. It's a bit hard. It was only telling me we'd used 10, which isn't right. I reckon we've used a bit more, and where at the crossover with the corn is, we're saying that we'd use sort of I think it's a 10 for the corn. Well, I reckon that's a bit high. So, you know, when there's been runoff water off the corn, we've pumped it back onto the rice and vice versa. So I'm sort of guessing with the rainfall we had early, I reckon there's around that yeah, that 11.5 megs, which is pretty good, really. Yeah, we'll be working on a ton of grain to a megalitre of water, which is, yeah, good result. Righto, we might nearly wind this one up in a minute. I'll just run over a couple of things. So, been having pressure pump problems. The water in the house dam got a bit low, and I think it lost prime, and then the pump run dry, and we're not long had put a new impeller and kit in that pump. And anyway, I stuffed around with it for 3 days trying to get it to prime, and in the end last night I thought I'll just pull the end off the pump, and the impeller was stuffed. So Tony grabbed a new one for me this morning in town, and it looks like it's going to prime up alright. I've just got it pumping water into the fire trailer just to try and get all the air and that out of it. So I've been to another maize field day today. It was a bit more on about storage and that sort of stuff. General consensus across the board is there's not a lot of markets for corn at the moment, or maize. A lot of the export markets are already sort of, orders have been filled, so especially for the gridding stuff. The prices, it's come back a fair bit. We were talking $400 a tonne back in October. We're back to about 280, 300 now, so it's come back $100, which is a fair slab. So what we'll probably do is we'll end up probably storing it. I'm just looking at a silo bagger now. We'll put it in a big sausage, if a silo bag, because that's, yeah, we're not going to have the physical silo storage to store it. at the moment. So yeah, it was good just to hear from a few guys that are doing that sort of stuff and moisture levels they're putting it in. So anyway, we'll talk about that more in coming videos. So yesterday, in amongst the wind and all the crap blowing, probably wasn't in super favour with the wife last night after we burnt this paddock, and then got a howling southerly yesterday afternoon. So house is just there, so yeah, everything was covered in dust and crap. But anyway, so yeah, got the air seeder on. The guys from Dickens Ag are going to come out tomorrow. I did mention we've converted this machine over to Isobus, so it now, rather than having a separate screen in the cab, it comes up on the display, the tractor display. So just need to learn how to drive it now. And there's a couple of things. They didn't have the tractor hooked up, the hydraulics hooked up the other day, so they haven't run the fan. They didn't run the fan, so there's no fan speed and that sort of stuff. So yeah, so and the plan is we're going to start and sow our grazing canolas on Monday. This is our air seeder. Those who've been watching along would have seen it before. So Horde Bagshaw Australian built thing. It's got what they call we're running the parallelogram type system. So fertiliser down the front tube and seed down the back. We adjust our seed depth with that tube, just bouldering that pin, and then press wheel just follows the contour of the ground, and it works on I can lift that while I'm talking to you. It's a bit stuck, but anyway, you'll get the picture. It just floats up and down. Pretty good machine. We've had it for sort of 12 years now. 9 metres. We're on a 250mm spacing, or 10-inch. And then the air cart, we've actually built this air cart. Again, most of you already have seen it and know about it. We used to have mounted bins up on the pull, and what we did about 5 or 6 years ago, might be longer now, we just built this rolling chassis and then moved all the running gear, the fan and the metering onto this bin. So it's about 11,000 litre bin, it's about a 60-40 split or thereabouts, so we can sow about 40 hectares on a bin full, 40-45 hectares, where previously we'd be 10 or 12, 12 I think was what we used to get. So heaps better efficiency. It's got the auger around the side here, if you watch the other one with the division in the truck. So we've just got that auger there, yeah, and it folds around and we can fill the 2 bins. Yeah, pretty simple setup. Just got it's just got a big, essentially a tow bar ball in there, a truck one though. Yeah, and it seems to work pretty well. I was gonna alter all this sort of a bit. I've got a different pull than that I was gonna put on there, but I just haven't had time. We just need to probably attack it over the winter time. These hoses aren't ideal. The angle's not 100% right, so we do have a little bit of trouble with that, but I went through the machine, greased the press wheels, greased all the movie bits, the wheel bearings, pumped all the tyres up. So yeah, it's just a case of chucking a bit of seed and fert in it tomorrow, and Jeremy's going to come out and we'll calibrate it, and yeah, we're sort of good to go. So plan is there's about 40 hectares of grazing canola we'll plant, and then I want to get over and by sort of Tuesday or Wednesday next week, that stuff we've pre-irrigated will be dry enough we can get on and get it sown. Yeah, so Tony's been spraying today, just a bit of fallow spraying out the other farm. Brendan's been doing a little bit of fencing. We're going to run the ewes in I think, probably not in the morning, but we're going to start and split that pivot paddock up under the lucerne for lambing. So I'll probably do that Monday. A few of them are getting quite heavy in lamb, so wouldn't surprise me if we get a few lambs next week. So anyway, yeah, nice enough day, warm enough day after a pretty cool start. So anyway, that'll do. Thanks again. We'll yeah, keep following on. We'll see you in the next one. Ta-da.